Hey there, friend. My name is Kevin Zen, and just this past May, I graduated from Yale with a degree in East Asian Studies. But no, please don't misunderstand me. I am not your typical Ivy League snob. I went to Yale on full financial aid, and in order to support myself, I actually ended up working as a writing tutor and a college counselor. Truth be told, the reason I started this YouTube channel is because I've made over 40 grand over the past 4 years helping high school students with their college apps, but I felt guilty that I was only helping rich kids get farther ahead, which is why I've decided to level the playing field, and I want to share everything I know with you guys here on YouTube. Before I begin, I would just like to mention that I made a video about the stats and extracurriculars that got me into Yale last week, so feel free to check that out if you're curious. It's a bit funky because I went to a private boarding school, so it's not an exact translation. The GPA is different, AP exams are a bit different, but if you guys want to know what that's like, feel free to check it out. As always, quick like and subscribe goes a really long way since my channel is the size of a ribosome, so every sub counts. Thanks so much. All right, let's do this. So, this Common App essay is about my relationship with my father. Specifically, I'll be talking about the summer where I worked in my parents' Chinese restaurant. That was between my sophomore and junior year of high school. I've also attached a link to the Google Doc of my Common App essay in the description below, so feel free to follow along. So I'm just going to read the essay once all the way through. After that, I'll explain the 3 major reasons why I think this essay is so effective and the number 1 area where it fell short. Sophomore year has just ended, and it's the morning of my 2nd day of summer vacation. My mother shakes me, waking me from my 11-hour slumber. "Silo," she whispers in Cantonese, "remember you have to work at the restaurant today. Your father needs you." I rub my eyes with the tips of my fingers. I shake my head. "No, I just got home. I need time to recover." There's no breakfast on the table when I arrive. The food is by the stairs, in the plastic containers from my uncle's restaurant. My father is sitting on our shoe bench. His head is bent towards his knees, his right forearm is in a cast, his middle finger is taped to his index and 4th finger in a makeshift split. He tries to put on his gray sneakers that were once white but fails. I rush to his side and help him. When we're finished, we head to work together. I've worked in the restaurant before, but today is different. Instead of answering phones or wiping down tables, I'm in the kitchen, moving between stoves that breathe steam and heat and sweat. The mornings are slow, so my father takes this opportunity to guide me through my duties. He speaks softly. First, he gives me a tutorial on the small wok used to cook main dishes. Then the fryer. Finally, the large wok used to cook fried rice. At the other side of the kitchen, my uncle laughs. "Let me tell you something, Silo. If you learn anything, it should be how to fry rice. A Chinese man who doesn't know how to cook fried rice is like an Italian man who doesn't know how to cook pasta." Dad lets Uncle take over when we move to the large wok. Uncle watches me closely during my first few batches. Not too slow, then the rice burns. Not too fast, then the rice doesn't cook evenly. "Here, let me give you a small batch. Those are a bit easier." He fetches the rice and ingredients, dumping them in the center of the wok. "Try now." I cook for several minutes, tossing the rice in the heavy wok. When I'm done, Uncle reaches in and plucks a few grains of rice to try. "Not bad," he says, "already better than your cousin's." Yet, despite Uncle's jolly attitude, I hated every day I worked at the restaurant. There'd be no time for sitting, for loitering. We'd work 10 hours a day on the weekdays, 12 on the weekends. My days had been stolen from me. Life in the kitchen was physically grueling too. Smoke in my eyes, strained muscles from the repetitive work, burns from the deep fryer. Once I even considered faking sick, so I wouldn't have to cook anymore. But the thought quickly disappeared as I realized that my injured father would take my place. 3 weeks later, as we're driving home at midnight after a particularly busy Saturday night, my father turns off the radio. He turns to me, coughs, and says, "At first, I didn't think you could do it. But then you showed up every day, woke up every morning, and came with me to the restaurant. You worked in the kitchen, you put in the hours, and never once did you ever say you were tired." He leans over the passenger seat, embracing me in a rare hug. "I'm so proud of you, son," he says, "and I want you to know that I love you." I stare at my hands on the steering wheel, grip them tighter. I sniffle, and as I make the left turn on 104th onto the final stretch home, I realize what I have done this month is what my father has done for 20 years, and I'm filled with a sense of relentless gratitude. Okay, so I think there are three main reasons why this essay really shines through. The first is the writing quality, the second is how I subvert expectations at the end, and the third is the dynamic or complex relationship between my father and my uncle. Let's start with the writing quality, or more specifically, the manipulation of flow and sentence structure in order to generate this kind of forlorn mood that perpetuates throughout the first half of the essay. Notice how in the second paragraph, I never directly say that my dad is injured. Instead, I create this little movie scene where you can see his cast, his splints, how he fumbles with his sneakers, and also that detail of the sneakers that were once white becoming gray is representative of his decay or fall from grace. You can feel this kind of rigidity or unease, tension, darkness, whatever you want to call it, without me having to explicitly say any of those words out loud. Guys, this show don't tell technique really goes a long way. In fact, when I was working as a essay coaching consultant for Princeton Consulting, this was one of the 5 major categories for rating and analyzing Common App essays. Always try to write descriptions that are so unique and so personal to you that only you could have written them. Because at the end of the day, that's what makes your Common App essay both unique, authentic, and memorable. Okay, that's 3 things, not 2. This is a pretty natural segue to the second reason why this essay is effective, which would be the ending. I'd say that there's a pretty obvious contrast between the short sentences we just discussed compared to the longer or mid-length sentences in the final scene. The construction of the last paragraph was really intentional. I had the sentence fragment followed by what is the longest sentence in the entire piece. Here, I'm manipulating my flow once again in order to signal a thematic shift. Not only have I alluded to my humility and work ethic, but also my awareness towards my father's sacrifice. So, just as the sentence structure has changed, so has the theme or the messaging of the essay. This is a really crucial component for strong Common App essays. You want to surprise the admissions reader. And one of the best ways to do that is by weaving these kind of sub-themes in your essay, particularly towards the ending. This way your essay doesn't just sound like you're banging on one note the whole time. In particular, those endings, those reflections are really a great place to say, look, not only is this essay about theme or major theme A, it's also about sub-themes B and C. Although I would recommend just limiting it to one major theme followed by 2 little sub-themes, because any more than that, and it's really easy for the essay to lose focus and just kind of... Last but not least, we have this tension between my father and my uncle. Clearly, my uncle is thrilled about me being in the restaurant, whereas my father is actually pretty disappointed that he had to call on me for help. Common App aside, in real life, my father has expressed disappointment in asking me to cook in the kitchen because it's really brutal menial labor, and he's always believed that, look, Kev, you should be studying literature or practicing piano or making friends. Your life should not be spent in this kitchen. Again, none of this is explicitly stated in the essay, but you can see the kind of internal conflict I'm wrestling with as I kind of try to swallow this responsibility of my work. This too adds another layer or dimension to the essay. My goal was to make the piece feel authentic and emotional, but at the same time I didn't want to write a sob story. So those different dimensions add also like a factor of reality to the story, which makes it good, I think. Moving on to the number 1 problem with this essay. Looking back on it, the biggest failure of this essay is my inability to answer the question, what do you bring to a college campus and why do you want to go to college? Every Common App essay should try to answer these questions in one form or another. In my reflection, I'm able to talk about my growth, but I never explain how this will translate to my impact on my future community. Obviously, college admissions readers know that you going to college will benefit you, but they need to know how you going to their college will benefit that college. Does that make sense, guys? I hope so. We covered all the bases today, but before I let you go, I just wanted to mention a special offer that I have up until the point where I reach 1,000 subscribers. I will be available for free 20-minute consultations at the following link, bit.ly/botherkevin20. I don't think you guys understand just how badly I want you all to succeed, especially you broke first-gen low-income boys and girls out there. Like, I am rooting for you guys so badly. Please, please, please share this knowledge with your friends. Let's do this together. I believe in you.